Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Fabled Lands. Or is it? The Castle of Lost Souls DLC has finally dropped, and it's time to play. However, this is going to be a little bit unusual for a video on my channel, because this video will be appearing in no less than 3 different playlists. Firstly, it's going to be in the regular Fabled Lands playlist. And for all of you Fabled Lands enthusiasts, if that's the only thing you're here for, that's the place to go see it. However, it will also be appearing in a dedicated Castle of Lost Souls playlist. However, that playlist will feature episodes that are not Fabled Lands episodes, because for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who already do, I'm sure you don't need telling or reminding, Castle of Lost Souls was the final installment in the Golden Dragon gamebook series from the 1980s. And I have a playlist dedicated to the Golden Dragon series. I've currently played, one attempt at the first book in there. I was planning on getting around to book 2, but hey, Castle of Lost Souls has hit us here, and since I have 2 versions, I'd like to play both and play Spot the Difference. So yes, I am going to be confusing and distracting myself with 2 simultaneous playthroughs, one with the old classic gamebook and one with the modern adaptation. So, this video will be appearing in the Fabled Lands playlist, in the Golden Dragon playlist, and in a separate Castle of Lost Souls playlist, which will include both playthroughs together, with the episodes in chronological order, meaning in the order that I record them. I might insert the Fabled Lands videos into the Golden Dragon playlist, or leave them out completely. I have not decided yet. For now though, we are near the village of Linton, where our adventure begins. And as this is an adaptation, we don't expect everything to be exactly the same. But we expect it to be similar enough to be recognisable and quite enjoyable. Let's head into town. This of course is Vorga, our warrioress. She wears an eye patch because her father Lorga did, and she thought it made him look really cool. She has slain the dragon in Golnir and become recognized as a paladin of Ravane. She hasn't achieved too many other special things. She's rank 5. I didn't know what kind of difficulty level to expect here, because this story does feature a powerful villain, and I can expect some quite significant challenges towards the end of it. Oh, the music just got ominous there, didn't it? So I didn't quite want to go with a brand new starting character. Linton is a friendly little village, like many others which are dotted all over northern Golnir. The craftsmen here are fortunate to be so close to busy Conflass and cart their wares over to the larger town each time market day approaches. The market in Linton sets up most mornings. While it lacks the variety of the stalls in Conflass, the locally harvested vegetables are just a little fresher, and the stall owners are just a little more amiable. A local trapper catches your eye, asking you questions about events in the region, while at the same time presenting his wares. As you wander through Linton, you overhear a baker speaking with one of his customers, who mentions that a fete is taking place. They also mention that a larger group of Rajesti nomads has settled near the village lately. I'm going to start with going to the temple. Wincho, the local priest, was once a peerless warrior who finally succumbed to that most dreaded fate, old age. A devout worshipper of Turnai, he is retired to Linton and maintains a shrine to the god of battle in the garden of the parsonage. He welcomes you to his home and he offers you some tea. You admire the collection of antique arms and armour that decorates his home. And Vorga is also she's a follower of Lacuna. Why did I think she was a follower of Turnai? Okay. We have the combat blessing already from Turnai's temple, so we don't need it here. Let's discuss his collection. There is a quest we may wish to achieve here at some point later on. You fall into discussion about the various items in Winchow's collection. He knows the minutiae behind the origin of almost every piece here, it seems. Well then, let us depart from the temple for now and pop back here when we have good reason to ask about armour. Let's go to the mansion of Faze. The Faze mansion is an imposing edifice set within an estate of some 30 acres. As you approach the gates, you notice an unusual amount of activity for what you had assumed to be a quiet rural household. A steady stream of armed individuals, adventurers by the look of them, are making their way up the long drive towards the main entrance. A servant in a black coat stands at the gate, scrutinizing each arrival. When you approach, he looks you up and down with a practiced eye. "Another one seeking the position, I presume," he says. "Master Jasper Faze is interviewing candidates today for a matter of some delicacy. The pay is substantial, I'm told, though the task itself..." He trails off with a meaningful look. "Well, you'll hear the details from Master Jasper himself, should you be selected." He gestures towards the house. "The interviews are being conducted in the main hall. You may join the other candidates if you wish, or you may return another time. The Master has been at this for several days now, and I suspect he'll continue until he finds someone suitable or runs out of willing souls. You consider your options. Whatever quest the Faze family seeks a champion for, it has certainly drawn quite a crowd. Yes, there must be a number of us old hands eager to try our hands at this task. Let's join the interviews and see what it's all about." The servant nods and opens the gate. "Through the main door, up the stairs, second door on your left. Good fortune to you. You'll likely need it." You make your way inside. Shortly you are joined by a well-groomed man of about 40 who introduces himself as Jasper. After a few questions relating to your previous adventures and preferred fighting technique, he jots down some notes in a ledger. He tells you the interviews are nearly all complete, and so you will not have long to wait. Then he leaves. A few hours later, Jasper calls the candidates to the main hall. You look around at the others. Most seem to be scoundrels or opportunist ruffians, but there are one or two whose exploits rival yours. Jasper steps forward. "After due and careful considerations of the corroborated adventures of each candidate, my brothers and I have chosen Salakar of Maromek as our champion." You're horrified to see Jasper clasp hands with Salakar. Oh, Salakar, not Salazar. Right. You know of this man. By all accounts, he is a failed candidate for knighthood in the service of Baroness Ravane away to the southwest, rejected for his arrogance and lack of piety, and his habit of cruelty towards his enemies, and yet he is a fierce swordsman regardless, the equal of any knight in this land. A disgruntled murmur from some of the other candidates is silenced by the 5 shards each is given for his trouble. You take your money with a bitter heart, trying to think of a way to cancel or reverse Jasper's decision and make yourself champion. Then will you challenge Salakar to a duel, leave now but follow Salakar, eavesdrop on Jasper and Salakar or attack Salakar right away in front of everyone. No, we'll challenge him to a duel. We are not a failed knight of the Baroness of Ravane. We have successfully received her favour. And we are quite pious with a sanctity of 12. Sneering, Salakar accepts your challenge. So sure am I of success, he declares, but I leave to you the choice of combat. Will you joust, or duel, or compete with me on the archery field? A duel involves a straight fight. A joust is strenuous and demanding, while archery tests only your skill. Your assessment of Salakar is that he is skilled but not hardy, and would fare badly in a punishing joust. We will absolutely tilt at the list with him. A tourney then! You meet Salakar for the joust at noon and for the following day. His horse is richly caparisoned in scarlet and grey, and his armour gleams in the sun, but all his finery cannot disguise a certain awkwardness in the saddle. You feel the choice of a joust gives you the advantage. Now is your chance to teach him a lesson. Jasper has loaned you a fine grey charger. You and Salakar ride to opposite ends of the field and rein in. Jasper raises a staff. You wait, staring across the field into the visored eyes of your rival. Jasper brings the staff down and your horses thunder across the sward. Your shield and lance are steady, your concentration absolute. Note that you are using one of Jasper's lances, which confers no bonus to your combat score. Stamina test 21. I don't know if that's for difficulty or if that's our result. Damage dealt to Salakar is 12, remaining stamina 9. Damage dealt to us is 3, remaining stamina would then be 13. Both lances strike home in a thunderous crash. One or both of you may be thrown from the saddle by this impact. Salakar is thrown from his horse by the impact. You wince as he hits the ground with a sickening crunch. This causes 7 points of damage to Salakar, which would leave him with 2 stamina remaining. Salakar does not get up. He has been knocked cold by the fall from his horse. You have beaten Salakar. Jasper rushes forward. How can I apologize to you for my misjudgment, he says. I see now that Salakar's great deeds were nothing beside your own. He won me over with his empty boastfulness, but clearly your noble reticence disguised a fierce and peerless skill. Please forgive me for my wretched stupidity and agree to become our family's champion. You spot a strong element of sarcasm in Jasper's obsequious manner. Nonetheless, the pride you take in your victory over Salakar and your curiosity at the quest ahead outweigh this small irritation. You accept. In their father's study, Jasper and his 4 brothers brief you on your mission. This will be a long and challenging quest, he explains, and you will need to gather many curious objects for it. A saint's ashes, a crystal ball, and a 4-leaf clover, among other items. First, though, you have only to go to a certain cave up in the hills and bring back some magical boots you will find there. We have gained a new title, Faze Champion. Jasper gives you a lantern and describes roughly where the cave is. Then he wishes you luck and sends you on your way. And this would appear to be the location of the cave, which was visible before we ventured to Linton. Barely 2 hours' walk from the village, you find the cave he told you about. You climb the steep path leading up to it. On the ledge in front of the cave there are several human skulls. We can make a scouting roll or a slightly harder thievery roll. Our scouting is significantly better, so we will make use of it. Forewarned, you peer into the cave. A giant is sitting inside with his back to you, blissfully unaware of your stealthy approach, chewing on what looks like a human leg bone. It seems like the ideal time to attack him. Taking advantage of the giant's distraction, you manage to land a quick blow before it can react, wounding it. The giant begins the fight with reduced stamina due to your ambush. Excellent. This savage hill giant is about twice your size and at least 4 times as bad-tempered as you. Well, let's see if temper helps him in his endeavour to crush me into jelly. I like the fact that he has a wounded health bar rather than a full one with a lower value, because the same developer is also working on the Bloodsword series, and there are encounters there where some enemies begin fights in wounded states. Let's back to here and just end our turn. Allow the giant to approach. We'll use tactical assessment and hold. He's probably got very great big reach of those arms. Let's close and try for a stunning blow. Bash him up against the rock and knock him sideways. Excellent. And again, please. The giant was no match for our skill. Foul-tempered, absolutely, but he never got a chance. If things seem a little easier early on, that's because this is a long and convoluted quest, and it's only likely to get harder as we go further in. To enter the cave, you will need some sort of light source, such as a lantern or candle. You are just inside the wide cave mouth where the giant lived. 2 tunnels lead away from this point, going deeper into the rock. We can go left or right. As Golden Dragon is fairly old school, we'll use the Fighting Fantasy rule and go left. The tunnel thins until you have to wriggle through on all 4s. Surely the giant you slew could never have passed along this section. You reach a small opening. The tunnel hereafter is impassably small. Most interestingly, you see that a small oak box has been stashed here, wedged tightly into a crevice. You test its clasp. It is unlocked. Keeping well back, you lift the lid with the tip of your weapon and make a thievery roll. Our worst ability score. Ah, we are successful. That's excellent. I was not expecting that. The box is trapped. You were just quick enough to dodge 3 sharp needles that shot from a mechanism on the underside of its lid and past your ear. They were probably poisoned. Inside the box, you find 2 long gloves made of a strange blue leather. You don't know what beast it comes from. It is clammy and clings against your skin, feeling much like the wings of a bat. These gloves cover your whole arm right up to the shoulder, where we'll take these. Supple hide, dyed deep, they fit snug and promise a safe grip. This done, you backtrack to the cave entrance. You're just inside the wide cave mouth where the giant lived. 2 tunnels lead away from this point, going deeper into the rock. Well, I would imagine we're going to want to use these blue gloves instead of our climbing gear, and we shall don them and take the right-hand path now. The tunnel descends, reaching a low-ceilinged, roughly circular chamber. Another tunnel leads deeper into the rock on the far side of this chamber, and yet that tunnel is utterly blocked by a heavy stone slab. Examining it more closely, you find various indications that it is part of a mechanism that you guess will cause the slab to move out of the way. You push against it, but it doesn't move so much as a hair's width. You doubt that even the giant that lived here would have been able to budge it. Just as interesting, in the centre of this room is a pool of blue, faintly luminescent liquid. It would rise up past your knees if you were to wade in, you guess. Peering through the opaque fluid, you make out some sort of lever at the bottom of the pool. You glance again at the slab blocking your route onwards. Surely the two things are connected. The liquid in the pool is glowing blue. We have some blue leather gloves. Let us absolutely use them. We'll reach into the pool, but with the gloves on our hands and arms, so that as long as our body doesn't get in there, we won't get wet. You feel a slight chill through the long gloves, but no other ill effects. You pull the lever and the stone slab grates aside. The gloves begin to disintegrate as you withdraw your hands from the pool. They have served their purpose in any case. The tunnel beyond the slab leads downwards with rough steps hewn into the rock. You descend. On the rock ahead of you, you see two fine boots of grey leather. Before you can reach them, however, there is a terrible shriek and a blue-skinned troll leaps out at you. You must fight. To battle, then. Well, oh tusked troll. Come. Face us if you dare. Bash him! Hack at him. He will get to fight back. Although, our armour and shield and helmet protect us. We can expect greater perils further on in this quest. The troll is wearing ringmail armour that would just about fit you. You step over its corpse and advance on the boots. They are grey in colour and of excellent quality, made of leather and moleskin. Here and there on the boots are various runes and sigils that hint at a vaguely demonic origin. Remarkably, when you compare these boots to your own, you discover they are exactly the right size for you. You return to the cave entrance. And now, I'm going to go left again, for a reason. Because I noticed this earlier when I was taking a little look at the beginning of this quest. The tunnel thins until you have to wriggle through on all fours. Surely the giant you slew could never have passed along this section. The tight little cave area is exactly as you left it, wooden box and all. If you did not take them previously, the blue leather gloves are still here. You may take them now if you wish. I did take them previously. They should not be still here for me to take. This is a bug. I've reported it to the developer. Hopefully it'll be fixed. As you turn to leave, you see a glint of light on the floor. It is a poisoned needle. Surely one of the ones that missed you as you opened the box. We'll take the poisoned needle. We will leave the gloves. And we are asked if we're sure we want to leave them behind. We return to the cave entrance. We will leave the cave and deal with another pop-up asking if we really want to leave the special blue gloves behind that dissolved in the pool that we can't take with us. A couple of rats are already gnawing on the corpse of the giant. They scurry away at your approach and you step out into bright sunlight. You consider your next move. Perhaps it is time to return to the Faze mansion and report on the outcome of your exploits. Or if you feel you are still missing something, and if you might still possess a light source, you may re-enter the cave behind you to explore further. No, I got what I came for. Let's return to the Faze mansion. Soon enough, you return to the Faze mansion. We are going to put on this ringmail armour from the troll. It's less valuable than our Volcanium mail, but we've earned it and it seems to be related to this quest in some way or other. Let's go back to the mansion. The Faze mansion is an imposing black-walled building in the centre of extensive grounds. Though a few decades old, the building's facade is unblemished, pristine. As you approach the house, it seems a brisk breeze carries the faintest whiff of brimstone to you. Your imagination, surely? You traipse back to the Faze mansion, where one of Jasper's servants admits you to the main hall, the very room where your current adventure began. Jasper arrives after a short while, and you report on the events of the last day or so. "I knew all along that I was right to trust you," declares Jasper. Then he calls his brothers to the main hall to show them the boots before handing them back to you. "Wearing these, you will be able to travel to the demon's castle away to the north and free my father's soul." You smile nervously at the group, but you're in too far to back out now. The boots are vital to the success of Jasper's task. If you ever definitely lose the boots, that is, if you ever lose them so that they cannot be regained, storing them somewhere is fine, you will immediately fail Jasper's mission. Without the infernal boots, you cannot hope to reach the Castle of Lost Souls. That is a nice way to ensure that we are qualified to be going on this quest. And we don't actually have a feat slot to place the boots in. I wonder. They don't seem to go in any equipment slot, and that's probably okay. You have successfully completed the first part of your adventure, and this experience allows you to improve your score in one of your abilities. Note that you can now access your stash storage from the chest icon on the town map. Well, I did not expect to succeed in that thievery roll, and we may need to do so again in the future as our quest continues, so we will increase that. The Castle of Lost Souls, Jasper explains, is where the demon Slank imprisons the souls of those who pledge themselves to him. He hands you a glass of brandy. "One day, my father, Luther Faze, found an ornate bronze jar among his trinkets and wares. Unable to remember where he'd got it, he read the inscription on the bottom. Immediately, the archdemon Slank stepped from the shadows. After some haggling, my father concluded a deal with Slank. This was that he should prosper and grow rich in order to leave wealth for his sons and a dowry for his lovely daughter. For this, the demon would have his soul. Papa died 6 months ago. As you can see from this mansion and estates, the demon kept his side of the bargain. While Papa lay on his deathbed, Slank waited to take his soul to the castle. None of us could see Slank, of course, but Papa had told me, his eldest, about the deal. He was quite upset about losing his soul there at the end, but actually I could rather see Slank's point of view. Who loves a fraud? Anyhow, just as Papa breathed his last, a single tear fell from the eyes of our sister onto his face. The demon led him through low hills and swamps to where the castle stands, deep in the underworld. Papa heard the demon chuckle as he closed the door behind him. Gathering his courage, he turned round and cast the single teardrop into Slank's face. The demon howled in pain and ran off through the castle, clutching his eye, which sizzled and smoked where the tear struck it. Papa was no fool, is no fool. Seeing that goodness is the means to destroy the evil demon, he barricaded himself in the castle library and sat down to work on how such purity might be crafted into weapons. The action of killing Slank can be thought of as a spell that requires 6 sacred artifacts. 4 of these you may procure here in Linton: a crystal ball, a 4-leaf clover, a fragment of the armour of the most chivalrous knight, and a tear from my sister's eyes. The remaining 2, the ashes of a saint and the hair of a true penitent who has devoted their life to their faith, you must seek along the perilous path to Slank's domain. Luckily, Papa also discovered a book called biodialogos, speaking with the living. He got through to us in a vision and told us to find a champion. That's you, by the way, because none of us are adventurers, obviously. And he told us where to find the infernal boots that are the only means for a living soul to find the castle. Jasper instructs a servant to prepare a room for you and suggests you start with the teardrop, since his sister Elvira Faze is just upstairs in her bedroom, or, if you prefer, you may search for the other items in the village, perhaps returning for the teardrop later. Report back to me when you have found the necessary items, he tells you as you consider the options before you. You reflect that this might be a fine time to pause this particular quest. The task to confront the demon Slank is yours, and yours alone. Jasper will not seek another champion for the time being. If you wished to travel elsewhere for a little while, this will surely be the best time to do so. That seems to be a hint that maybe the next stage of our adventure may be rather more challenging. On reflection, there is an air of subjectivity to some of the items that Jasper has asked you to collect for him. The crystal ball and the four-leaf clover are clear enough, but what about, say, the ashes of a saint? The holy men of far-off Akatsurai are known as saints. Would they meet Jasper's criteria? For that matter, truly skillful warriors in that region are known as sword saints. They need not be especially devout at all. And what of the penitent's hair taken from someone who has devoted their life to their faith? Everybody has regrets. Might you pluck a hair from the head of the first priest you come across? A penitent is one who is performing penance. They are punishing themselves to make up for sins or misdemeanors in the past. So not just anyone will do. No, surely any power inherent in these items is drawn from symbolism, not semantics. A saint must certainly be an outstandingly pious or holy individual. Whether such an individual has been formally recognized by one of the faiths of this region remains an open question. Similarly, it is unlikely that the demon Slank will be undone by the quotidian regrets common to all and sundry. You must seek out one whose penitence is remarkable and all-consuming, perhaps to atone for grave misdeeds in the past. As you stride about the village of Linton, you regard your map of the region. Jasper has indicated that the path to Slank's Castle of Lost Souls lies away to the north. So too does the Abbey of Lacuna. Though reputedly difficult to find, it seems a fine place to search for two of the items you seek, the hair of a penitent and the ashes of a saint. And so for now you will limit your search to the other items you need. A crystal ball, a four-leaf clover, a fragment of the armour of a chivalrous knight, and, if you do not already possess it, a vial of teardrops from Elvira Faze. Well, let us return to the temple. Wincho, the local priest, was once a peerless warrior who finally succumbed to the most dreaded fate of old age. A devout worshipper of Turnai, he has retired to Linton and maintains a shrine to the god of battle in the garden of the parsonage. He welcomes you to his home, and, as he offers you some tea, you admire the collection of antique arms and armour that decorates his home. Let us discuss his collection. You fall into discussion about the various items in Wincho's collection. He knows the minutiae behind the origin of almost every piece here, it seems. We seek a chivalrous knight's armour. Perhaps one of Wincho's suits of armour could fulfill the criteria of a chivalrous knight's armour to provide the chink of armour you seek. Thoughtfully, you steer the conversation that way. You have been given some thought to this search for a sliver of armour of the most chivalrous knight. Such a term seems oddly specific. Most likely an armour fragment from any particularly heroic or pure warrior will serve this purpose, you hope, and then an idea occurs. Might your own armour be suitable for this task? Well, it would be a shame to damage the Volcanium mail. and render it less valuable as protection, but we do have this ring mail that we've been wearing since we defeated the troll. Hopefully it will have had time to become imbued with some of our essence. Let's make a sanctity roll. Excellent stuff. You shave off a sliver of your armour. Pleased with your own ingenuity, you wrap it in a piece of cloth and place it in your pocket. With the armour sliver in your possession, you consider your next move. Well, let's make a resurrection agreement in case we die on our quest, and then leave the temple. And with that, I'm actually going to put back on our Volcanium mail and leave the episode here, because I want to go back to the old book now and play some of that. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one, whichever of the free playlists you may be viewing, or maybe you're just using the search function and finding them individually. It's all good. See you all next time, guys, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye and cheerio.